everyone, I'm actually catching up on these, so now we're going to do two characters, brother and sister, with a lot of characters. Okay, so like I said, brother and sister Hazeal and Liraz and their misbegotten two. So they have a lot of brothers and sisters, so yeah. One of them is Akiva. This is like the trio I was talking about. So I'm doing them together because, you know, you can't talk about one without talking about the other, and they were more in the last two books, especially the last one with Liraz. So let's start with her. Okay, so Liraz. First time you meet both of them, for instance, you do get a feel for them. You get a feel that Liraz is more of the I'm in charge type. I'm the leader. And you don't mess with her. You really don't. And she's the one who's kind of telling Akiva, like, you need to come back. We don't want to see you broken again. Like how he was when Madrigal, and it was also Carew, when he had to watch her die. That's just cruel. I'm sorry. It really is. And he was like just broken by that, and they don't want to see that happen to him again. So what do? They go there and I don't live in Earths, but fight no matter what. So they start to fight him and say, like, we're gonna go after her, and he's like, no, I will stop you. And he started fighting them, and that's kind of just the first impression you get of them, that they, one, do care for him, and two, they covered for him. So yeah, they did. They covered for him, so they do care about him. And you could, just to touch on Hazeal for a second, you could tell Hazeal is not really the fighting type. Like, yeah, he can fight and everything, because they trained him, but he doesn't like it, okay? He doesn't want to fight Akiva, but he does for his own good kind of thing. And then, okay, so the second book comes along, and now we're just going to talk about Liraz. So, in the second book, you get an idea that, again, Liraz you don't mess with. There's a scene where they just went out, they just, like, were supposed to hunt down and kill this village of Chimera, because now they're just killing all of them, because they basically won, but hey, you gotta kill them all. And, like, you know, she doesn't believe in that, she doesn't think that's right, so when they go to put the tattoos on their fingers, you know, the whole death count thing, she's just like, if I see any new marks on any of your fingers, I'm gonna be taking fingers. You're like, oh, okay, wow. That's kind of the idea that you would get. That's the idea that you get when you hear about that. And when you hear about that, I was like, oh, wow, she's serious about this. And then you also see, and then you do get other scenes with her. Again, it's like more Carew based in the second book, and with Akiva in there, and with Liraz, you see her at the end. She is like, yes, we're gonna plot and we're gonna go kill Jerome, who is their dad. That's what they do. So they go off to do this, and like I said, there was that climactic scene. Okay, I mentioned this in Kai's video where there's this thing's going off Carew, and then they're going off to kill Jerome. It's going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and you don't know where to look. You don't know what you want to read more right at this point. You're just like, I want to read about Carew. Wait, Akiva, Liraz, and Hazeal. Wait, no, Carew. Akiva, no, I don't know who. You really don't know who to read. Okay, you don't know who you want to read more, you just want to read it all, so you're zipping through it, and in this one, she's also there, and like I said, awesome fighting skills, okay, and, you know, their dad's just the butt, in general. He's just like, oh yeah, you guys are my kids, right, got it. It's also really awkward because, yeah, formal meeting in the bathroom. Really? That's awkward. Okay, and then how she's being really defined, and she, like, and you do see some other sides of her, like, she doesn't like being misbegotten because they're just treated terribly, but at the same time she's fine with it because JL, who is their good old uncle, can't touch her. Yeah, he can't or won't, I'm not really sure, we never get an insight to that, but he can't or won't touch her, or both, because technically she's his niece, and Yeah, his niece. I really hope he doesn't. Except then, the whole bathroom scene comes, and like I said, the whole climactic scene, they kill him, and then all of a sudden all the Dominion come in with these hands, and I was like, you didn't know they had these things? Because it sounds like you trained to be, like, against that Hamas. How exactly did you train against that magic? I don't know if they just never did use them or if they forgot about them, but, like, they have the creepy dead hands. I can't tell you how creepy that is. And then, you know, Jael is, like, you know, giving orders to them, explaining his whole plan, doing the villain thing. Must explain my plan to you now. Why do all villains do that? Well, you gotta have a villain in there somewhere, so he's doing the villain thing, explaining his plan, and then he starts telling them, like, what to do, and he's just like, capture those two and bring her to me, and then you're like, dude, that is your niece. Your niece. Like that. That was me. I'm like, dude, no. Your niece. Sick person. Like that, but thanks to Hazeal, that never happens, and he ends up dying. And then Akiva does his magic thing, and they're off. Okay, and Liraz takes Hazeal's death terribly, okay? Akiva, like, I guess he was kind of used to it. He saw Madrigal die, and that's, like, the love of his life, okay? So he might have taken it better because he's been through it before. But Liraz just took it so terribly, and it really just made you, like, feel pain for her, and you felt pain too, because I'll talk about Hazeal in a second, but you really felt pain. You felt like Liraz. You were like, bring him back, bring him back, bring him back, bring him back, bring him back. And then they get to Crew, and she is like, I will save him. I will, like, make him a new body. Where's his soul? And of course they don't have his soul, because no one, you know, Thiego's being in the. While Akiva was captured and Thiego was being ever so helpful at explaining everything about chimeras, they forgot to mention the whole soul capture. He didn't mention the whole soul capturing thing, apparently. Or they were just too freaked out and didn't have anything for it, or trying to get away. It's so many variables. But, in any case, Hazeal's dead. He's dead. Okay? Like, and we're all like, no! And Liraz is losing it, okay? And you really just want to go in there and give her a hug so much, but you can't. So after that whole thing, Crew helps them escape, and then they go back, and the third book happens, okay? The third book happens, they're trying to unite everyone in Liraz feels really awkward, okay, because she's the one left with the Chimera, while Akiva goes to talk to all their other brothers and sisterly misbegotten people, okay? They go back to talk to them all, and she's thus there as, like, an ambassador type thing, and she feels really awkward because no one really wants her around. She doesn't really know what to do. Okay, she's not used to this. Okay, Akiva, he snuck into the warlord's, like, birthday ball. Come on. I think he would be able to fit in a little better. And during this, and like I said, I'll talk about Hazeal more because I got so much to say about Hazeal even though he's dead. But you see that she is nice because, like, you know, Mike tries to get her to have her angel wings help, like, warm them up because, you know, it's freezing wherever they are. I'm really confused on the geography of Earth, so I can't tell you exactly where they are, but it's freezing. So, but then at night she goes over and warms them up. It's like in secret because, you know, she is nice. She's not like a hardened warrior as everyone thinks. Like, she just comes off that way because she's, like, you know, doesn't want to open herself up to any hurt. Oh, she saw, like, what love did to Akiva. She doesn't want that. And she brings up a couple conversations she even had with Hazeal, where Hazeal is like, you know, you really should find someone. You deserve someone. Like that, and kind of giving her encouragement and telling her to release her braid. Okay, because she always keeps her hair braided so tightly. And he's just like, just let it go sometimes. You know, like Elsa. Well, he did say that. But, and eventually then they get into the cave scene, okay? And now everything's, like, heating up, really intense. You kind of do get Liraz's point of view where she is, you know, nervous and is like, oh my god, this isn't gonna work, this is bad, everything's gonna be crushed and ruined. Because she does realize how bad it would be if, like, you know, human weapons got in the hands of like the fire angels. Yeah, you thought their first war was bloody? Wait till they have guns. Luckily, that never happened. Let me clear that up. That never, ever happened. So, yes. Not that much blood. But, anyway, then you start to see that then every time they go there, you start to see that she really is going through grief, and she really does feel guilty. There's a scene where, like, some Chimera are talking about, like, cutting off her hands, but, surprise, surprise, she, like, her whole life has been about, like, killing, pretty much. Killing, being that soldier that she was made to be, and she feels bad about it on the inside, because she brings up how she had nightmares about, like, trying to figure out how to cut off her arms, and she made a joke in there, because when she asked Hazeal, Hazeal was like, it's impossible, you can't cut off both your arms, and then she found the answer, gave a Chimera an axe. But they're surprised, because if they see her hand, and she's like, they're like, pull them up, and it keeps going, and going, and going, all the way to her elbow on both of her arms, okay, and like all over, and they're like, oh, and she just feels so ashamed about it. She wants to get rid of those marks, and she just doesn't know what to do. She feels really bad, and she's going through grief with Hazeal, and then Ziri. She has a moment with Ziri, and Ziri's Diego, so it's also really awkward at the moment, but it's so sweet when he's just like, I don't think we properly met. And she's just like, oh. And of course they end up together, and I love them as a couple. It's so beautiful, that scene at the end where she was nervous, he was nervous, and then they both ended up flying around together. It was a beautiful, classic moment between the two. We were just like, you do love each other, don't you? You love each other. You really do. And it just made you feel so happy on the inside and stuff. And like I said, Liraz, you really go through this with her, okay? She's feeling grief. You go through that grief with her. She's going through it. She's remembering things about Hazeal. She's trying to push him aside. She's feeling guilty. She keeps going back to what he said. She keeps trying to think of ways that could bring him back, and finally, she learned something from Hazeal's death, at least. I know it sounds bad, but she learned something. She remembered the soul when Ziri/Diego died. She remembered to get his soul, and it was such a beautiful moment where they were just both crying. Like, it's here. His soul is here. Like that. Like, he's gonna come back. He is gonna come back, and he does. At that awkward moment, and by the end, and right before that awkward moment is when Liraz finally accepts Hazeal's death. And at that point, you kind of feel like you do too, because you went through that entire thing with her. She went through all 4 stages of grief, and by the end, you felt like you went through all 4 stages of grief, because, like, I'll get to Hazeal in a second, but I did go through, like, some grief too for that one. That's the beauty of this book. It really makes you feel how she felt, and you felt like you got over it too, and by the end of it. So, she is definitely one of my top 5 favorite characters, because I did not expect her to come out as such a deep and, like, well-written character. And now let's talk about Hazeal. So, Hazeal, I will be honest with you right now, Hazeal is my #1 favorite character. So, now I know what you're probably thinking. You're going, wait, why is Hazeal your favorite? He died in the second one. The second one out of 3. Well, there are many reasons why I like Hazeal, actually. And one of them is, like, he's the fun character. He's the light, fun character. They're in the middle of a war, and even Akiva is like, he's the one that would try to get people to play cards or dice. Like, he's the one who would try to get them to play some games, tell some stories, crack some jokes. Even when, like, Liraz is talking about the whole finger situation, where she's like, if I see any new marks, I will start taking fingers. He comes over and is like, seriously, don't. I think she would enjoy having a finger collection. Like that. I love that he, like, was just making light of everything. He's trying to make everyone, like, happier. And I mentioned that in the first one you get the impression that he doesn't want to fight. And I think that's just because he likes making jokes better. He likes making people happy. He's trying to lift everyone's spirits, no matter who they are or, like, what rank they are. Because even when it comes to the scene right before he dies with Jerome, they're going into the city and everything. They have to, like, do the whole, like, king thing, because they're like it's like a kingdom type thing. They have to like say who they are, why they're here, all that stuff. And the guards kind of start treating them terribly because they're misbegotten. He kind of just was like, oh, I get it. That's a good one. You get it? Yeah, it's so funny. Even though like Akiva and Liraz are getting really mad, and no doubt he's getting mad. We never do actually see his point of view on things, but no doubt he's getting mad there too. But to be honest with you, the one scene that made me just go, okay, I love you, you're my favorite, is the scene, as I mentioned in Akiva's video, where him and Hazeal, they're partnered up, and they're supposed to go try to find the village of Chimera, right? They're going to try to find them, and then they hear a sound, and what was that? So they go down, and then they find the village, the entire village, and they're like, oh, we found them! And it's one of those awkward steering things where it's like, what do we do, what do we do, what do we do? Both sides are trying to figure out what the other side's going to do, what they should do, and Hazeal is just like, weird. Thought I heard something. Hey, look, a flower! That scene, I was like, thank you, Hazeal, thank you, you just saved all of them. You saved all of them, but a flower? Wait, what? What? I was so confused with the flower part, because he was like, oh, weird, I don't see any Chimera. Hey, a flower! And I'm like, going, yeah, the world's full of them. At least your world seems to be. It was just so random. Like, I don't even know why he did that, if that was like was symbolism or anything, but it was funny. I loved it. It was random. Even Akiva was going, wait, what? Huh? All the Chimera, like, the same reaction too. So I just love that part. I love that scene so much. It's my favorite scene out of probably the entire thing, except for like the memory parts, because that's just beautiful. That's the love portion of this is just beautiful, and you really get the idea that he doesn't want to be part of this war. He's not going to let this war, the fact that he's misbegotten, affect him. And I like that about him. He's not going to let it affect him. He's not going to be the way that they all say. They're like, you are a weapon, and that's it. He doesn't act like it. And if he is a weapon, he's the funniest weapon there is, and the best one. Okay? But I love that scene. I love that scene with him, even after he's dead, because like I mentioned with Liraz, like Hazeal, he's just like, when Jael is going, take those two away, bring her to me, he's just like, oh no, you are not going to touch my sister. You are getting nowhere near her, ever. Like that. When Jael said that, he just was like, oh no, you are not going to even think about touching my sister. No. Tries to kill him, and he ends up dying himself. But I like that part so much, because it's like, it really shows you how much. He's a minor character, but you get the entire idea for him in like the way that she just writes this book. You get his whole character based on these like simple things, these one-line things, okay? And he really like impacted everyone, I think, because all the Seraph misbegotten are like, wait, he's dead? What? So obviously everyone kind of knew about him or of him or had met him at some point, and like I mentioned with Liraz, she keeps bringing up things that he did, like a scene where like somebody was talking to her, and then he's just like, hey, if you want to mess with my sister, you gotta go through my sister, and would hide behind her and just be like, I'm scared. Like that, kind of just as a joke or to make her feel better, something like that. I mentioned how he tries to help, he tries to make light of situations, he tries to just raise everyone's spirit, okay? Everyone's. And like I said, I think that it would have been a lot easier and better if he was there when they were talking with all the Chimeras. I think that he would have like settled the tension, just made it less tension filled, and I really, really miss him, and I really, really wanted him to come back so much. And all in all, I love his character. Those are just a few parts that he brought up, but Liraz just keeps bringing him up, thinking back. The part with him trying to think of a way to do things kind of shows you that he is smart, because he thought for hours about that, and I'm guessing he found a couple ways, was like, maybe no, maybe no. I don't know, but I love Hazeal so much. He's my #1 favorite character from this entire series, just because of his personality, how he tries to raise everyone's spirits. Except I do have one problem, and that's with his death, okay? And it goes back to the whole hope theme of the book. I really, really wanted him to come back so much, because he was a fun character. He was the light character that just gave you a laugh in this really depressing, deep, romantic book. He was the one to give you a laugh, okay? And honestly, I do have I like I said with Liraz, I like how it was done. Like, by the end, you were like, I really feel like I have accepted Hazeal's death, like Liraz has. You're like, I'm okay with it now. I'm okay with it, okay? But I thought about it, and I'm like, actually, there's one problem I have with Hazeal's death, and that is one of the themes, okay? One of the themes in this book is very clearly that you have to have hope, okay? Because they talk about, like, hope, 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 hope. Karu's name is Hope, okay? Brimstone is like, I had hope, and it was you. And Madrigal and Akiva are like, we need to have hope. And everyone else is like, we just need to hope. We have to have hope. Like that, hope, 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 hope. Well, let me tell you, I hoped, and 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 I hoped that he would come back to life. I thought of so many ways. I cannot tell you how many ways I thought of, how many times I was expecting it, how many moments I was like, he's gonna come back, he's gonna come back, here it is. No! Because I was thinking they were gonna go in there to defeat Jael right before Akiva did all his really awesome, like, thing with, like, putting a handprint on him and going, like, you don't leave, I ignite it. You leave, I won't ignite it. Being all serious like that, I was expecting Jael to be like, if you ignite it, you'll kill your brother. Like that, and just, like, surprise! Because Akiva told this Ceres about the whole thing, right? And it's like, you know, Diego, I could see being the kind of guy to explain everything to the hero, okay? Cliche villain thing, going back to that. He would explain, like, everything, you know, about, especially about the Thybals. And I'm just curious, like, why wouldn't you guys have some just laying around, just in case? You know, in case you ever figured out how it happened and you could bring these people back to life. But no, and I was kind of expecting them to be, that to be like a twist, a surprise, like, ugh, like that, but it never came, and that to me was really, like, it really took away from the theme of this book of hope, that you have to have hope, because, like, if you are like me and you like Hazeal, he is your favorite character, you want him to come back, you wanted him to come back, but it never happened. You could probably think of more ways than I could that he would have come back, especially in this third one. Okay? I could not tell you how many ways I was thinking that he could come back. So, I don't know really about the theme portion of this. That really, really did bother me. I do applaud her, though, for making it you feel like you finally accepted Hazeal's death by the end. You're just like, I'm okay with it. I was upset at first, like that part. There are very few parts that'll get me to, like, cry during a book or anything. I'm sorry. There are very few parts, even, and I'll be honest with you, there are only 2 parts that I have ever truly, like, actually started to tear up in a book. And that is, one, the part with Nico in the House of Hades, that favorite scene I was telling you about where he kind of just lays it all on the table, and the part where Hazeal dies and they are going frantic trying to bring him back to life, and Karu is trying to help, and then she's just like, I can't bring him back, and Liraz is crying, and Akiva's trying to, like, be a rock, but he can't because he's sad too, and then Karu feels really bad, and you're feeling terrible, and I'm just tearing up about this right now. So, yeah. I really wanted Hazeal to come back, and I really hope that, like I said, in this one, it seems like there could be a sequel because of this whole other threat in the people like who are trying to break through the barrier veil thing that are trying to come into their world. They gotta defeat them. And I'm like, that could be another series. I'd read that series. And it sounds like you find out more about Akiva. Like, why is he the only one who can, like, who does not have to, like, contribute pain all the time to this thing? Why does it come so naturally to him? I know it's, like, in his blood and stuff, but I'm sorry, I would love to just know why. Not just, well, his whole family could do it. That just seemed like a anticlimactic explanation. Okay? So maybe something will happen, like, in the next one. If she does make a sequel series, I don't know. But yeah, so now we move on to this part. What would I tell them? Well, let's see. For Liraz, if I had to be specific, I would warn her about Hazeal. I really would warn her about Hazeal and Jael. Oh, so Jael. I would so do that. And, like, cause that just literally broke my heart when that part happened. Especially just reading her reaction, because her reaction, that one just kind of made you go, oh my god. You really felt something when you read her reaction, so I would do that. If I had to be vague, I'd walk up to her, I would be like, everything will be alright, you are awesome, but I'm kind of afraid of you. I am, because it's like, you make her mad, you will lose that fight. As for Hazeal, well, let's see, with Hazeal, again, warning him, I just warn him about Jael in general, like, forget him, I know it sounds weird, but, like, I would just be like, hey, Jael is planning this, okay, so be prepared for that, okay, like I said, I don't want him to die, and I feel like that would allow him to live, and probably help speed things up a bit in the third one, okay, I just feel like it would. And if I had to be vague about this, what would I tell him? Well, I would actually just ask him one question. I would go up to him and be like, can I have a hug? I know it sounds weird, but I would just so do that. I so wanted to hug Hazeal so many times in this, and I would just wanted to walk up to him and be like, the best part is, I'm pretty sure he would actually give me a hug. He would give me a hug. That's the best part. He would. I could see him doing that to somebody. Somebody came up to him and be like, can I have a hug? He'd be like, okay. Probably like, why? Because I want one. Okay. I can see him doing that. So that is what I have to say about that, and then next time, we are going to talk about such. And next time, Zuzana. Yeah, she's my, I'll be honest, yeah, my second favorite character, Zuzana. So funny. Bye! Okay everyone, so I wanted to make a small correction. I would like to change what I said about Akiva. In Akiva's, I said that I would warn him about Zeal, I think. Like, about that whole thing, but honestly, I'd like to change it, because I would just want to go in there and be like, dude, Madrigal's alive. Madrigal is Karoo. I would want to tell him that if I could be specific. So that's my specific for Akiva. I'm changing it. Bye!